So, hey, David,
Hey, Kristjan.
long time.
Yes, it is. I'm sorry to say, but it's great to see you.
It is absolutely, and it's one of these interesting things of this isolation that is happening is that like I have run out of things to do, but then I started thinking, okay, but I haven't spoken to a lot of friends for a long time, and is there anything I can do to? So I've been kind of reaching out to a couple of guys that I know and admire, and it's just been brilliant.
Thank you. Well, here's an idea for you and your viewers. Because of this enforced isolation, and I think you probably use Zoom and Skype as I do to keep in touch with family and friends as well as business colleagues. I've been having virtual cocktail parties with my friends. So
Hey,
we'll have several people, and this is happening everywhere. It's not a new idea, but combining a screen with 4 or 5 people and a drink in everyone's hand leads to some very interesting hours.
Yeah, that actually then you can mute if somebody gets a little bit drunk, they can just like mute him or her or
That's right. That's right.
Brilliant. I love this background thing that you just taught me now, that I can change the background and just like it looks like we are at the same location.
Yeah, we're both in San Francisco.
Brilliant. Give me 5 or like a virtual thingy. Yeah.
All right. Bang.
So what's been happening with you over the last years? Where are you sitting now?
I'm still working for clients, not as many as I used to when I was younger, but I'm still keeping my hand in doing PPC management and loving it. I wouldn't do it unless I really loved it. But there's something that we did, I did with some colleagues late last year, which is we launched an industry association for PPC professionals, and that's called the Paid Search Association, PSA.
Yeah.
And the guy that started it with me is a former client. His name is Mike Friedman, and he's the executive director. But the first thing we did was put together a board of directors that includes the kind of the cream of the crop of PPC experts worldwide. And I know you have a worldwide audience, so I want to emphasize that worldwide because from the very beginning we wanted to make it attractive, not just to Americans, but to everyone as far as we could reach.
Yeah, I'm a member, so and I know that you have Anders on your board, Anders Jörg.
Anders, right?
And then who did I saw? I saw a couple from the UK.
Yeah.
Purina from Microsoft.
That's right. We've got and one of them is Gianpaolo Russo from Italy, who puts on a conference every year. And so we've got Brad Geddes, we've got Frederic Valles, we've got Perna Vergi and Christy Olson. I'm leaving out too many. AJ Wilcox, the biggest LinkedIn expert.
And so on.
I'm leaving out too many. We've got 24 board members.
It's on the page. Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's on the site and not under the about page.
And I used to be a member of. I was on the board for Sempo many years ago. I don't even know where they sit now. But these organizations actually can be quite helpful, especially if you're trying to build up an industry.
Yes. So Sempo actually dissolved recently. Like a month ago. They were absorbed, they call it, by the Data Analytics Association. So I'm not sure exactly how it worked. I think the membership transferred to the Data Analytics Association, and there's kind of a search committee within that organization that contains whatever was left from Sempo.
What's the guy? Stern? No, what's his name?
No, that's a different. You're thinking of Jim Stern.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a different organization.
Okay.
Yeah.
But and how is I mean you're living what in down south in the U.S. somewhere?
That's right.
Where?
I'm living in sunny Florida,
Florida. Yeah.
On the West Coast, on the Gulf of Mexico. So it's the weather is always beautiful. The beach is across the street, and I'm living the life of a pensioner without without the bad health.
Okay. Yeah, and stay clear of that virus thingy. That's crazy.
I know. My wife and I have been inside almost as long as you have.
Yeah, you take care. And how is she, by the way? How is Wills?
She's doing great. She's
Yeah.
really doing very well.
Yeah.
Her business is renting out 2 apartments that we own for vacationers,
Okay.
and we frequently have friends and family staying there. And of course, you and your family have an open invitation.
I've been on my way for a while now. I must admit, we've spoken about this before.
Good.
And are you traveling probably less than you did?
Yeah, I've been traveling much less. I'm I really enjoyed conferences and speaking, and then I've been doing it all my life, literally, since I got out of grad school, and I really still enjoy it, but not so much that I want to be doing it every other month. So last year I spoke at 3 conferences, and this year, well, who knows whether there will be any conferences.
Yes.
I do know of one conference that's going to be very good, though.
Yeah? Tell me about it.
It's called the Paid Search Association Conference.
That's the virtual one you were talking about.
That's right. It's so funny because when this virus started to keep people indoors, we had a board meeting right around the same time.
Yeah.
And one of the board members said, "Hey, I've got all these slide decks for conferences that are not going to be happening. And this would be a perfect time to create a virtual conference just for PPC." And of course, there are conferences that are dedicated to PPC. There's HeroConf, there's AdWorld, Jean Paolo's going to kill me. AdWorld Experience, I think it is, in Italy. And then there are conferences that devote a lot of their time to PPC, like SMX and PubCon.
Yeah.
And but they're not happening. So again, several of the board members have had these presentations prepared for the physical conferences that were no longer happening. So we decided we would have a couple of objectives for a virtual conference. One of them was obviously educate the people at home that wouldn't be able to go to the physical conferences. Another one was help the physical conferences in some way, because they're hurting. They're hurting financially. If they can't conduct their usual physical conferences. So we're going to have 3 days. It's going to be May 12th, 13th, and 14th. The virtual conference will start early enough in the morning that Europeans can attend, and maybe even some people outside of that area, people in the Far East and the Middle East and so on. And we'll have 3 days of sessions. There will be some roundtable discussions and even some networking opportunities.
Yeah. So it would run so late that actually we can go from being joining the conferences to kind of having a virtual networking cocktail.
That's what I'm saying.
Brilliant. And looking forward to that. So this association's website, what is it?
Paidsearch.org.
Okay, .org. Yeah, so that,
yep.
It's an organization. Yep. Yeah. But in regards of these, one of the things which we are seeing here now, now being in Norway, it's a little bit bigger country than Iceland, but not so far off. The post office, for example, is saying that every day is like Black Friday because they're so busy in moving products and packages around. And then you have these local stores, small kind of convenience stores, a bit like 7-Eleven or something similar, which have been turned into post offices, where packages are being taken to, and they're basically just rearranging the stores because there's so many packages from IKEA, from Zalando, from these different product companies coming in, and I bet that this is AdWords and or Google or search plays a major role in there. People are buying, and what are you seeing when it comes to this?
Well, Microsoft had a very good webinar last week where they described what they have been seeing in search and search advertising. And I've been seeing the same thing with my own clients, and that is some of them are doing poorly and are very worried, or even pulled their websites down. But that's the minority. I think the majority of clients that I've seen firsthand are doing better. And there are a couple reasons for that. One of them is that people are at home and they're spending more time on the internet. And so they're shopping more. Even people who are at home for doing business from their home are spending time sitting in front of their computer more so than walking office to office in their physical facility. So everyone is connected all the time. Let's put it that way. So there's kind of a phenomenon called a rising tide lifts all boats, and the rising tide in this case is an increase in internet use in general.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are certain industries that are doing better, and common sense would tell you why they're doing better. There are the ones that are doing better are e-retailers in general. Amazon's doing great. Mm-hmm. So e-retailers in general are doing great, but it's not just B2C e-retail, it's B2B e-retail too. Mm-hmm. And by B2B e-retail, I mean vendors of physical goods that sell to other companies.
Yeah.
So
I saw interesting, I was on CNN, I think, or something similar, where they were talking about this toilet paper issue in the US. Mm-hmm. It was MSNBC, actually. And they were thinking, there was this reporter that started to dive into why toilet paper runs out in stores in the US. And he found out that actually the reason is not necessarily that there isn't enough toilet paper. It is that the toilet paper industry splits up into two. It's the B2B part and the B2C part. And the B2C part is super soft and nice paper, while the B2B part is a little bit tougher paper, not as high quality, but and while the B2B part is basically dead, the B2C part has never had to deal with this before, because now people are doing their things at home, not at the office or school. So the load on the toilets at homes is 3-4 times as it is normally, but they haven't been able to keep up with the manufacturing. But there's not a lot of toilet paper. It just sits with different types of companies that sell it and don't have access to companies like Walgreens or Costco or whatever it is. They sell differently. So there's not the problem about the toilet paper. It's just the type of manufacturing. So these are interesting logistical challenges that come up where we have to kind of adapt to it. And I'm going to be interesting to see what the B2B companies do if they're able to get their products online somewhere.
Interesting. Yeah, there will be. This is you've heard it before, I'm sure, and your viewers as well. But this whole incident is going to cause a big change in the way people conduct their lives and their businesses, even after the recovery. And I think it's really good for our industry personally. I think there will be a continued increase in teleconferencing and internet use for shopping. And I think it's job security for us.
Hold on. I don't know if you can see it here. This is the youngest one. You saw her when she was super small.
Right. She's beautiful.
She's taking the dog out. She basically walked in from the. She walked in from the sky. She's like a god.
Uh-huh. Nice.
She goes back in here and then she comes in.
Very nice.
Ja, okej, flott. Ekki fara langt. Ég ætla að koma með þér svo.
Já.
Ekki fara langt í burtu. Taktu síma með.
Hvað er koma með þér? Hvað meina við það?
Ég ætla að koma með þér líka. Aftur. Farðu út með hana pínu núna, svo kem ég.
Pínu, ég tenkte að fara svona út lengi.
Ég ekki fara lengi. Taktu síma með þá. She's taking the dog out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's and I wanted to go with her. I told her to wait a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so where were we? We are at yeah. So go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I think another point that is appropriate here, I think, is that in the near term, I think there are a lot of agencies that we know and that we don't know. A lot of marketing agencies and digital advertising agencies that are going through some temporary tough times.
Yeah. And what I've seen basically most of the time, what I've seen now is a lot of them have been specializing in travel, for example, and hospitality. They are really struggling because basically all the clients died.
That's right.
They're gone. No, So yeah, so so some of those, but the ones that actually are strong in retail, I'm seeing a couple of agencies which are strong in retail. They've been asked to ramp up online stores for companies that have never had online stores, and so it is. You're quite right. Yeah.
How about in Norway? What's happening there, or in Europe in general?
Europe in general is actually split up. So Italy, of course, got hit quite hard in Spain. Portugal seems to be getting okay. They seem to be tackling things okay. The Nordic countries, so Sweden, Norway, Iceland, Denmark, and Finland, they've been tackling this in a similar fashion. I would say Sweden maybe is the one that has kept things open the most. They might actually be changing that now because they are now being hit harder and harder. Schools here in Norway are going to be open in about 2-3 weeks, I think. So they're keeping them closed. The government in all of these countries has stepped in quite dramatically to support the companies that have been, and not companies, but we have companies and people to help them sustain this. And I think the interesting part about this is the build-up that will come after. That's going to be quite interesting also. As you said, things will not go to normal. We will have to think and learn from this.
That's right.
So, and if you look at this from a crisis point of view, like in 2008, we had the financial crisis. I was in the UK then. Certainly, my credit cards stopped working, and I was lucky enough to have good friends in the UK. Andy Atkins Kruger, who I don't know if you know, he bailed me out, helped me out quite a lot, and showed what true friendship is about. And then I managed to get home. And then during the volcano, I was also in the UK. I got stuck there. I ended up having to take a train up to Glasgow, if I remember correctly, because that's when the wind was blowing in a favorable direction.
Right.
I think we were maybe 2 or 3 of us in the plane, in like a Boeing. Like, I was crazy, but I made it home. So it was good. So it's, we got, and then now we are here, and we moved to Norway since. So I'm here now with my kids.
How is Iceland doing?
Fine. Yeah, it's actually Icelanders are taking this with a relatively upbeat. I think in general people are upbeat. They're taking this in a relatively upbeat manner. It's just something that we just have to get over and work on together as just human beings. And I think Iceland is same as most. I think maybe when you look at countries like Iceland and the Nordics, and then versus the U.S., maybe the infrastructure in the Nordics is a little bit stronger to tackle this.
Yes.
Because of the way that the social system works, but I'm not seeing anything but people taking this in a very positive manner. As positive as it can be, of course, but yeah.
Well, I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, I'm too. But so just to summarize this up, there's a virtual conference coming up. David Szetela is doing good. He's 2 minutes away from the beats. Wills is happy and sees good.
Yes.
You're still tackling clients once in a while. You're not letting that go. There are signs of winners and losers within e-retail or e-commerce, B2B and B2C, and those are to be expected, specifically on the base of the services. Did I miss anything? Like, what's the final tip that David has for? What was the final tip that you have for us? Like from a
here's my final statement. If you're a PPC professional, join the Paid Search Association, Paid Search Association, paidsearch.org. Couple things you'll get: an email every day with the most important information about PPC.
Yeah.
So that there are about 35 articles a week that we put together. You get information about education and certification for PPC professionals. That's just a few of the reasons to join. So
the ones that I got this morning were 7 effective ways to optimize your e-commerce conversion funnel, how to find and understand the conversion rate in your products on Amazon. Amazon seems to be, of course, a big thing now. I understand.
That's right.
That. And then was one here, update Google Ads benchmarks for your industry during COVID-19. So this is relative content.
That's right. Yep, every day.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's keep in touch.
Please.
At least through likes and hearts once in a while on Facebook. I love watching my friends. At least having some visual from
That's
that.
right. Yep.
Facebook and it will catch up again. And thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you for inviting me, Kristjan. I really appreciate it.
Brilliant. And have a great day. It's just starting on your end.
You too.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Jack.
Stay on a little bit. I'm gonna cut it off.
Okay.